Welcome to Between Classes, the South Dakota State University podcast about jackrabbit life. Today, we're talking with Jacob VanderHeiden. Welcome, Jake. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm from Hutchinson, Minnesota. I am a fifth-year senior, and I'm graduating this weekend with a degree in operations management.
Nice. Sounds like a good thing to be looking forward to this week.
Very excited.
Yeah, got a few finals to take care of this week.
4 finals, and then I'm free.
All right. That sounds manageable. You can do that. So you're kind of coming to the end of your time here on campus, and so I asked you to join me today on the podcast to just kind of give us an overview of your time at SDSU. So let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about year one on campus.
So year one started in June. Right after I graduated high school, I came to SDSU to play football, so I came in June. And that's when we started summer workouts and spent the entire summer getting to know everyone on the team and living on campus. And then classes started in the fall. And yeah, not really a typical student, but...
So when you came here as a freshman, do I recall correctly, you were a mechanical engineering major?
Correct.
Okay. And so being a student athlete, I think a lot of us know you have a very full schedule for the entire year. Is it that way over the summer too, or were you able to pick up a job or something?
The first summer I was here, before my freshman year, no job, just summer workouts. And then after the first year, that first really busy year, the summer before sophomore year, I was able to get a job, and that's when I worked at Seneca, being a combine operator.
All right, so then tell me about your second year on campus. So after that summer where you ran a combine, you came back. How did that year go? What happened?
Probably my favorite year. You know, there's 30 or 40 new guys on the football team you get to know over summer and over fall camp before classes pick up again, and then just kind of having that year under your belt, knowing how everything goes. And that second year of classes was a lot more fun, a lot easier to manage. And then I lived in Meadows that year, so that change of pace from the small dorm room to an apartment on campus with a kitchen was really nice.
And so after your second year, what'd you do that summer? Did you work again?
Yep, I went back to Hutchinson and I worked for the Parks Department, helping maintain all their baseball complexes.
And living near home, so it was less expensive?
Yeah. Free room and board with mom and dad, and then dragging ball fields during the day.
Sounds like a good summer.
Yeah.
So then tell me about your third year when you came back to campus.
So after spending a summer working at the ballparks, I decided not to continue playing football. And I figured I would be a regular student and I would just get my degree and go that route. And I was on campus for 2 weeks, doing classes and everything. And then I discovered how not having that structure of always being busy or heading to practice or meetings, I was going crazy. So I decided I had to start looking for a job. And one of my former classes from freshman year, we kind of did the whole, make your resume type of thing. And so I used that really basic resume and spammed it to everywhere in town and ended up getting a job at Walmart in the Tire Loop Express.
So then after your third year and then summer came up again, did you stay working at Walmart? Did you find a different job? What'd you do that summer?
So Walmart was really flexible. I was able to come up and work some weekends or, kind of go 3 weeks without working. But I got an internship because as part of mechanical engineering, it's required to get an internship. So I went back home to Hutchinson just by chance because that's where a 3M is located, and I did a plant engineering internship back home. And that's kind of where I did a lot of projects, did a lot of engineering work, and that's where I decided, hey, kind of gravitating more towards project management and the operation side of things than, actually like designing parts or that type of work. And so that's when I got back in contact with my freshman year professor, who was an advisor in the OM department, and kind of started talking about possibly switching majors. Okay,
so when you came back for your fourth year, a lot of things had changed then. You came back with a new major. So tell me a little bit about the transition, but then also about that whole year.
So came back with, a fresh internship underneath my belt, so that was crossed off my list of things to do because it worked for the OM department as well. But then it was trying to play catch up, and it was taking 21 credits a semester in the fall and then taking 18 in the spring. And you get to know your professors really well doing that. You have to get a lot of slips signed off saying, hey, I know I haven't taken this prereq, but can I slip into this class at the same time as that prereq? And so it was a year of learning a lot of new faces and then really having to follow through and do well in classes that you weren't exactly qualified for in the first place.
It sounds like it was quite a transition that year, but it sounds like you fared pretty well with it too. So I've noticed a theme that in general over the summers you have jobs, so I'm curious, what did you do for work after your 4th year on campus?
So this is when things started to get really busy. I had planned on getting an internship, again, not because it was required, just because I wanted another thing on my resume. And then one of my professors had brought up an opportunity within Daktronics to do a lean student position, which kind of is it's a big buzzword in any operations job resume. So I decided to pursue that opportunity. And at that same time, I got in contact with you, and I kind of picked out a fun job for the summer and throughout the school year of being a student photographer, all while still maintaining employment at Walmart.
When your time in Brookings comes to a close, how long will you have worked at Walmart?
I will have worked at Walmart for 3 years, Daktronics for a full year, and then UMC for a full year.
That's also some good stuff to have on your resume, a lot of longevity. It's
Yeah.
good. Excellent. So let's get right into what all of your hard work over 4 years culminated with, which was your 5th year on campus leading up to this weekend in your graduation. So 5th year on campus, you were in Brookings all summer long. You were working at 3 different places, and then you had to add in some more classes. Tell me about the 5th year.
So, that 4th year cramming in a lot of classes, the hope was to graduate in 4.5 years. But the capstone program for operations management goes a year. It's a year-long class. And so I knew I was going to have to take 12 credits in the fall, 12 credits in the spring to maintain full-time student status. And so there's a chance to take some interesting elective classes. And I was kind of toying with the idea of taking some photography classes, but working here was kind of a more economical way. It was getting paid to edit and take photos instead of paying to do that. So it was provided a lot of free time to work more. It was 2 days of classes and then working upwards of 40 hours a week, which just kind of still boosted my resume, and I got to do more projects, see more faces, and have more resources.
Headed into your 5th year on campus, since you had spent the entire summer in Brookings and working at a variety of places, I would imagine that transition was actually quite smooth. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your 5th year? How all did that go?
So my 5th year was a lot of the same routine. It was, another first day of classes. I'm taking 12 credits a semester this time, knocking out those last required ones and taking some fun ones. I only had class 2 days a week. And so that opened up a lot of time to, work my 3 jobs. And then a lot of those jobs kind of gave me, new faces within DAC to kind of reference and, get job opportunities. And then a lot of involvement on campus, kind of being a fly on the wall, taking photos at all these events of, organizations, events, research. And I saw a lot of cool things on campus that I'd never seen before. And then being kind of immersed in campus in that new way kind of made me excited to possibly do the same for my department, and that's when I got the opportunity to be a student ambassador for operations management. And that was getting to know my department head, Teresa Hall, and then everyone in the office, and then my advisor. And that was, meeting every 2 weeks or so with prospect students and kind of, giving them the realistic, student version of what it's like to be in this program. And I know I would have appreciated that because I didn't know this program existed when I came here. So being a student ambassador was really cool and kind of a highlight of my senior year.
That sounds like a really great way to culminate all of your experience as a jackrabbit and finding a way to give back to other jackrabbits and help them go down the right path that's going to really help them succeed in the future. Speaking of futures, I'm curious, what's in your future after commencement this weekend? What are you going to do?
Well, up until about a month and a half ago, I had no idea. But then a few companies that actually came into the operations management program, some of our classes, and they had talked to us about job opportunities. And our office even lined up on-campus interviews, which then led to plant tours and on-location interviews and then job offers. And so after graduation, I'm going to move to a new town and start a job in operations management and see where it goes from there.
Well, congratulations. What a relief to have as you walk across stage this weekend. So, Jake, before we close out our podcast today, I'm curious, what kind of advice do you have for either current students or prospective students?
I would say get involved, find a group of friends who have the same interests as you, And then, you always have that study group. And then along with that is getting to know your professors early. That way when, job opportunities come to them, your name is on the top of their brain, so they can throw that out there. And if you do good work for them, they'll give you opportunities, and they're the most connected people on campus. And so getting to know your professors, grade-wise and experience-wise, will benefit you a lot.
Jake, thank you for sharing your advice with current and future Jackrabbits and for sharing your experience at State. This is Between Classes. Thank you for listening.